Hello everyone. Welcome to my HTML and CSS tutorial. Uh, in this tutorial, I want to do a crash course on HTML and CSS. Uh, on my recent tutorials on HTML, these have been using some advanced CSS classes, HTML classes, sort of. So this is an example of a web page, a one-page website that we built using HTML and CSS. But I want to explain uh, some basic things you need to know about HTML and CSS so that when you want to work on something like this, you are not going to have a lot of difficulties with it when you are learning. So just follow me. Now, whenever you hear the word HTML, HTML means hypertext markup language. Hypertext markup language. That's what HTML means. Why CSS? Why CSS is cascading styling sheet. That's what CSS is. So let me just put this in. Let me just put HTML this way. That I'm going to use the definition of the house. HTML enables you to design how you want a web page to look like. CSS, which is the cascading style sheet, helps you to paint your house to look beautiful. Now, HTML, you use HTML to build your house. Why you use CSS to paint your house? Because once a house is being built, it doesn't look complete until you paint it and do some designs like that. So that is exactly what this CSS does. So now your first way of creating an HTML file is that when you want to save your file after you have your directory, you can use any directory. So when I mean directory, I'm talking about folders. So this is a folder that is housing uh, some HTML file that we worked on in previous tutorial. So now, how do you create an HTML file and how do you save it? You can press Ctrl N on your. I'm using Sublime text editor. So that's what I'm. There are a lot of text editors, but this is the one I'm using for a start. I prefer you use this one so that you can understand some basic syntax. Now, the first thing is you save it. So once you press Ctrl S on your keyboard to save it, once you press Ctrl S on your keyboard, it's going to ask. Then we'll now say home page. You can call it anything. Then HTML file, you save them with .html. Okay. Then you click on save. That is exactly how you create an HTML file. Now, I want to create a CSS style inside the CSS folder because I want to call it. So how do you do it? Let me just you right click. You can go inside this folder and right control E. Just say home.css. Okay. So now you are saving HTML file with .html. Your CSS file ends with .css. That is the first thing you need to do. Now, I'm going to explain some of the things and we'll try and display some of the things on our page. Now, if I come to my browser and let me just duplicate this page and I come here and I say the name of the file I want to open is homepage.html. It's going to be blank because I've not written anything on it. So that leads us into HTML tag. HTML tags are written in between two characters, which is the greater and the less than sign. Now, there are lots of them. There are lots of HTML tag, a quite number of them. It's not it's not it's not something I'll try and get one of my manuals and share them in the description where you can see some of the tags. Now, there are tags that are used to generate, to design your web page. So that is how. Now, each tags are closed by this. This is how you close them. This is how the first tag looks like. This is how this is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. Now, what are the examples of things that you see there? So let me just, since we are writing an HTML file, so if I press this one now, it's going to do write. I've installed some packages on my system. So let me just use this to explain. If you don't have it installed, just note this. Now, if you are writing an HTML code, just ensure that you have your HTML. Don't let me press enter. It's going to write it again. So this is the opening tag. This is the closing tag. So everything that you are going to write in your code must be inside this HTML tag. Now, if you check, we have the head and the body. So how do you write the head? This is the tag, this is the head tag that you use. Then you now have the title. Now I'm going to explain the next thing here. So what this simply means is that everything, like if you check, let me open this. If you check this website, this one page website I will build, everything, like you can see the menu, the all this thing, even this title that you can see, this refinery project, this logo that you can see, everything should be in the head. That's where it is in the head that you call all your stuff. That if you want to put a fab icon, which is the logo, you do everything inside the head. If you want to write declare something, if you check previous let me try and open one. Yeah, so you can see in this this is an example of a website that we built. So everything that you are going to write, this is your title. This is where you write your title. If you want to put a logo there, which is called Five Icon, you put it there inside the head. If you are calling any CSS style sheet, you call them inside the head. It is inside your body that you now have all these things that you are seeing now is displayed inside the body. But all the CSS style, the fab icon, the links, they are all called in the head. So that is for the head. Now in the body, that's where you have all where you type in your web page. So in our title now, we're going to say HTML and CSS crash course. HTML and CSS crash course for beginners. Okay, so this is everything you need to know before you can start doing some more advanced thing. Now, I want to call this CSS star home dot. So what do I do? So I will explain one thing. Now, this is how you write comment in HTML. Now, this thing is not going to show. but it's just for you to, it's just to make your code neat, to look nice, so that you know where you are, what, where, how to label your codes, how to give them arrangement, to know that okay, this place where I'm writing, this is where my home page ends, this is where my about page starts. So it is very important that you put comments in your code so that you know exactly what you are doing, what that code, line of code is doing. So here I want to say my CSS, my CSS star. Okay, so it is very, you, it is still the same less than sign with an exclamation mark, then two dash, then it has to close. This one too has to close. If I remove it, all these things are being commented there. If you go to the page, you won't see anything. So that is why it is important that you close it, and you can see on this that it is faint, so it won't show. But if I remove this opening tag, this particular thing is going to show on the web page. But if you put it there, it will show. So my CSS tag. So how do you call my CSS? How do you call your CSS tag in your HTML file? You use the tag of link. You use the link tag. As you are pressing all those, if you press any of those things, if you have some, you need to, if you are using Sublime Text, you need to install some package controls, uh, uh, management package controls on your this thing. So it's going to install all these things so that you don't, once you just type them, it should auto suggest. All these things you are saying is auto suggestion. Okay, but if you don't have it, no problem. I'm going to try and share a link in the description where you can get some of this tag. You are just starting with HTML and CSS because it's very important. So in the link, now it is auto suggesting for me because I have installed some of those packages. But if you don't install it, there's no need. You can type them out. Now, all these things that are in green, and this, all these green, this thing, they are called attributes. Attributes. So there are a lot of attributes, even in HTML tag. They have they have there are lots of attributes that you can use. It's not something that you will cram. So there are lots of them. What they do is that they are telling, they are, you are telling your web page that this is exactly the kind of operation you should, this thing should perform. So those are exactly what the attributes, those are exactly what the attributes mean. They make your codes to give additional information about HTML elements on your page. So they give additional information to your HTML code. So this link now, you give it this, the attributes. If you are using the link tag, the basic thing that you should note, you should watch out for is the rel attribute, which you must state to style sheet. Then the type, it should be text slash CSS. That is the first thing you need to know. Then the href means the where is the link? Where is it referring to? So where is our CSS star that we are calling? Our CSS star is inside a folder called CSS. Then you put slash. What is the name of that file? Which is home.css. So that is how you call your style sheet. Okay. Now, if you, so let me show you one of the codes that we've done. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. So this is an example. So when, if you are checking some of my tutorials that I've done on HTML and CSS, and you now see something like this is exactly the same way. So now for what is it called? We want to give it like a, if you check, let's go back to the browser. If you check Google, for example, look at, I type something on Google search engine. I have PHP Guru 99. If you check Google, this G that you are saying, it's a design, it's an image design which has a specific size. But on here we don't have any title, it's just writing the link to our file. So this thing is a default site icon. But if you want to put your own custom made this thing, then you will need to specify it. How do you now specify it? You say link, you use the same link tag, but this one is not going to be a style sheet. You will call it shortcut icon. Then it is, what is the type? The type is an image, because it is image that you are putting there now. So okay, what the next thing is to put the format of the image. So what image are we using? Where is I'm trying to look for, okay, ref. I want to use this ref logo. The type that is talking about, it is image. Then the next thing you should provide after it is the format. The format is the file format, which is .png. So you don't need to put .png there. You just put PNG here. If it is JPEG, you will put JPEG there. That is exactly what we are going to do on it. The next thing now is to also specify the directory to it. As you specify the directory to this one, you specify the directory to this one. That is exactly what the href attribute means. It means specify where this thing is coming from. If it is a link, specify where it is going. Okay. So if you check some of this thing, now this is an href with a link. We called a Google font. So it is a link. So that is exactly what the href attribute does. So our image is where is in a folder called img. Okay, I'll close this one. So it is img slash what? What is the name of the image? The image is ref. You can call it anything. Ref dot the name, the file format, which is PNG. If you save, let me remove this attribute here and put it in the body. If you save this and you go back to the page and refresh, now we now have the attribute inside the body, because everything that you are seeing here is inside the body. So now we can see that our title have changed to HTML and CSS crash course for beginners, and you can see the logo here. Okay, so that is exactly how you so if you now want to put maybe a font style, this thing there, you are using link, then you make it a, you put this is the style sheet, then you put the link. Maybe you are using http google.com. Okay, so that is exactly, those are the main things that you put in your head. Now let me just do some little styling. Now this body, let me try and change the background. Now let me quickly type something. Let me just say before I go to this CSS tag, let me quickly explain some tags again that we have in HTML and CSS. Then we'll now do some CSS styling. Now we have some tag in HTML which is called the header tag. We have the heading tags, which are H1 to which are H1, they are H1 to H6. I will show you the difference. Now, how do you write your header tag? It is you use heading tags for majorly if you want to write a heading. Like if you are writing a book, you want to now write a heading like, okay, importance of computer science. Number one, it makes work easier. So your heading is importance of computer science. So I will show you the difference. So for you to write an H1 tag, you write H is in small caps. H1 is we bring it. So I'm going to duplicate all this. Then we'll change this one to H2. We'll change this one to H3. We'll change this one to H4. We'll change this to H5. Then this one is H6. H6 is the smallest. H1 is the biggest. Then that takes me to the paragraph tags. So the paragraph tag is for you to write a sentence. Okay, different line of sentences. That's what you will use the paragraph tag. So let me just say, welcome to the HTML and CSS crash course tutorial for absolute beginners 2021. So that's this thing. So let me put this one inside another paragraph. Then your p tag closes, you write your p tag as p, then you close it as p. So just notice that this is an opening tag, while this is your closing tag. This is how you write your closing tag. The reason why it's showing this is because of you need to type something inside. So this is your closing tag. This is your opening tag. So the elements that you're now putting can now be H1, P paragraph tag, can be body, can be HTML, can be what's it called now? Can be paragraph, can be div. Yeah, so there are lots of them. So, but let's say if you put div here, you end the div here. So once it is seeing the opening and the closing tag, you will see that there is a kind of an underline that is drawn underneath. If it is not seeing it, that means probably if I write another div here. Now, this one is closing, but this one is not closing. So if you now open it on your web browser, it will be scattered. Okay. So let's attribute of heading tags. Okay. So let's just say header 1. You are going to see the difference. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here. Header 2, heading. I don't know why I'm saying header. So we'll change this one to 6. We'll change this one to 5. We'll change this one to 4. We'll change this one to 4. We'll change this one to 3. We'll change this one to 2. Okay. So let me just put this one in a paragraph tag. Okay. Close it here. Now let me do another one. Now everything like this is on a paragraph tag. Okay. So let me save this. I wanted to add a break tag. A break tag. A break is to break. If you check this thing online, this thing will be on a straight line, but you will see the difference when I use the break tag. But before that, let's go to our web page and see what we have. So if I refresh, now this is the paragraph tag that I used to type header tag H1 to 6. Now this is our H1 tag, which is the heading 1. This is our H2. You can see the difference now. This is our H3 tag. This is our H4 tag. This is our H5 tag. This is our H6 tag. So these are the difference between all those heading tags. So you can know how to use any of them once you are writing your code. Okay. So this is the paragraph tag here. That is, you can see that this is one paragraph. If you check our code, line of code here, we have the first paragraph tag. Welcome to HTML and CSS tutorial for absolute beginners. Attribute of PHP, heading tag. Okay, now note this one, heading tags H1 to 6. They are on, you would think maybe is going to appear on a straight line. On the separate line, but it's not. They are on the same line because it's inside a paragraph tag. But if I put a break tag, you can write the break tag like this, or you write it like this. Either way, it is acceptable. If you save and you come back and refresh, you can see that they are now on separate line. They are not on the straight. They are not on the straight line again. Okay, so that is what the break tag does. Another thing is an HR tag, which is an horizontal line. This is how you write down. It's just to draw a line on it. So if I come here and I refresh it, you will see a line there. So you can see the line there. So that's another tag that you can use. Then there are a lot of them. There's another one that is called uh, abbreviation tag, which is this, is to shorten this thing. So if I put ww here and save, so come back and let's see what it will show. I think there's something I'm missing there. It's supposed to show like anyway. Now let me do the little ones. Now I'm going to duplicate these things, and I want to show you the difference. We have some that are similar. We have some that are they are different tags, but they perform the same thing. If I use this one, don't let me copy and let me just say bold. B. Yeah, you have the B tag, then you have the strong tag, you have the italic tag, no, which is the I tag. Then you have another one that is called EM tag. Now this thing is to give your so let's copy this so that you can see the difference. But this one, so depending on anyone you want to use, okay, depending on anyone you want to use. Now, don't, if you put a class inside this thing, it's going to, if you put a class attribute, you only use the I tag and put the class when you are trying to call a font awesome icon, but you don't need to add anything here. But if you just want to make it slant, so you will see the difference now. So let me paste this one here too. Which other one again? I think there is one that is called big. Okay, there is a big tag too. So it's just to show you the difference. So now let's save. Let's come back here and refresh. Now, I need to break all these things. So let's use the break tag. Put the break tag in each of them so that they can be on separate line. Okay. So if I save and come back and refresh, so this one is the bold, this one is the strong, so they are the same thing. This is the one of the I tag, which is italics, while this M2 is italics. Okay, so big, this is the one for big. So anyone that you prefer, you should use, but this one and this one, they are the same. Most people use strong when they want to make a text bolder. Very little people make use of these people. So depending on anyone that's convenient for you, that's the one to use. Now, I want to style all this thing I've done so far. I want to style it. So I'm going to start with the body. Now, I will show you something. Now, if you want to style a tag, type the tag directly. And this, you open the curly braces. This is how you start. Now, if you want to write comment in CSS, you need to use a slash sign with an asterisk and another asterisk and close it. So this one is the opening this thing. So we can now say home page style. You are going to be the one to be seeing it in your back end, but what the user will not be seeing all this CSS. This thing. What they will be seeing is the beautiful page. So we've built a simple house now, so we want to paint it. So that's exactly what we want to do. Okay. So this course is going to be quite a long one because there are lots and lot of them, a lot of tags you need to understand so that it will enable you to be able to build web pages. Okay. So let me come back to where we are. I want to style this body. So let me say background color to be what color? Let's say blue. I just want to see. Okay, so if you refresh it, that is how you start it. Now you now say color, we change it to white. So the implication of this thing that you did is that that we did, not you now, that we did is that we are saying that throughout the background of all our body, it should be blue. Now, the color, every text that you are going to type on it should be white, including even the HR2 is in white. Okay. Now, I want to style this thing. I want to give them different color, and I want to change. I want to change some things there. So how do you style them? How do you differentiate them? So that is where the place of the class attribute comes in. Now, I have an header tag 1. I want to give it a class of heading 1. These are custom made classes. That means the one that you call it. So which means this is the one that you must refer to if you want to style it. So let's copy and put each of the attributes. We will differentiate them with this thing. Then I will explain one other thing. Now I want to give this one an ID attribute to be title text. Okay, so I will save. Now let's change this one to 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. No, we've missed one. 4, 5, and 6. Now, for you to style, because this thing, they are on the same distance, but you want to give them separate styling. So it is the class that you set it to that you will use. So you copy this one, come in. Now, if you are using a class, if you want to style a class in CSS, you must start it with dot, and you paste it, and you open your curly braces. But if you are styling an ID, now I didn't give this paragraph tag a text, a class. I gave it an ID of text title. So how do you style it? So you must copy it and use an hash, paste it, which means for class, you represent class with dot, you represent ID with hash. Okay, so I want to say font size. So there are a lot of CSS properties. Font size, I want to give it like let's say 20 pixels, and I want to give it a color of black. You can type black directly, or you use XS code, EX code color. So just for you to find out more about that, let me duplicate this thing. I want to open that color code site. Just go to htmlcolorcode.com. So you have the color picker there. So this is the RGB, this is the X code, while this one is the HCLS. The most commonly used one is this HX, which must start with an hash. Okay, so but for this one, this I'm using an X code here. I'm using the plain color here. Okay, but I will advise you that if you don't know the name of the color, but if you know the name of the color and you can't remember the hash code, just use it here. And if you want to pick color dynamically, you can drag this one down. Okay, there are lots of them, but I'm recommending this one for you. htmlcolorcodes.com. Okay, now let's come back to our CSS tag. Now for heading 1, I want to give it a font size of, it's already big, so we'll say I will give it a color of what color should we give it now? Let's say yellow. So let's duplicate all this. I just want to show you the difference, how you can style the same, how you can style different things. So don't forget, if you are styling a class, you use dot, the name of the class. But if you are styling an ID, you use dot hash ID, I mean. Okay, so this is H1. So the class of H2 will change it to green. I will say 25 pixels. H3 will give it brown. We'll make it 10. You will see all those difference. Which one do we have? H4. Let's leave it at 30 and leave it at navy blue. Let's just say gray. Okay. So H5, let's leave it at 30 and make it red. Then H6, I'm going to increase that one a bit. Then let's say black. If you save and come back, you're going to see the difference. So you can see now, because of the font size that I've given it, it has changed it and the color. So those are simple ways of this one is just doing how, it's just explaining exactly how CSS and HTML work. Okay, so we are not building a site, we are just explaining some of the little some basic things you need to understand on it. So these are basic tags that is being used on HTML, and these are simple ways in which you can style them. Don't forget, if you are styling an ID, you use the hash. If you are styling a class, you are using this. So what's the difference between a class and an ID? You give it an ID, an attribute of ID, then you give it a class. So before because there are still lots of them that I will explain, but before I go, let me quickly explain the anchor tag. Okay, now how do you write the anchor tag? The anchor tag is written as A. Once you press the tag, it will auto suggest and press it. The main thing that you have in an anchor tag is two: the href and the target attribute. Now, what this thing does is that, let me just say this thing should go to home.html. That means I want this thing to go somewhere. Or don't let me even use this one. Let me just say you should go to google.com. Let me remove, oh, let me duplicate this. I'm going to show you the difference. Now let's put a break here. and we'll remove this one. Then we'll say go inside, go to Google page. Okay, this one we'll say go to where can we say this one should go now? Okay, let's say this one should go to Facebook. Facebook is always on this browser. Oh, okay. Let's just say go to live score. Now, this one is a link. If you click on it, it will open Google page on the same page that you are currently on. But if you put the tag attribute and you say blank, because you must add blank, it's going to open it in a new tab. Go to live scores. All of you been wondering why am I using live score? I don't play all those flash score and this. It's just the site that I go to check live score. So want it to go to live score. This one will open in a new tab. This one will open it in the same web page. So let's save and let's come back to where we are. To refresh. Let's change this our background color to be something like but we need to change. Let's just say white. Our background color to white, and let's change this one back to black. And use 6 or you can use 3. Let's use 3 or you type black directly. Okay, now if I click on go to, okay, I think I need to add, you need to add Google address to it completely. Let's just say www.google.com and www.livescore.com because it's not going to see it. Okay, so if you mouse over it now, why is it picking? If I click on this one, okay, why now? It ought to go to, I don't know why it's not going to live score. Let me check something from the manual. Where is it? And tag. That's where it should go now. Okay. Let's put HTTPS. Let's come back to our page and refresh it. It's because of the HTTPS that wasn't there. So if I click, if you mouse over it, check your down part here, you see HTTPS. If I click on this, go to live score, it's going to open live score in a new tab. But if I click on this, go to Google page, it's going to open Google page on the same browser, on the same page. So that is the difference between the normal anchor tag without the attribute blank. But if it is as this attribute, so if I say, okay, go to the same, open, let's just say, don't let me use live score, open Google page in new tab and save. If I come back here and refresh it, now open Google page in a new tab. If I click it, it will open it in a new page. But if I click on this one, go to Google page, it will open Google page on the same page that you are on. You are now being able to click on your back and come back here. So that is exactly what this anchor tag does. So I'll continue in the next video on my tutorial. So just try out some basic things using these tags that we've talked about. So that because there are quite a lot of them. So we'll do some, I will show you some of, in the next tutorial, I will show you some other tags too. Then we will now build a simple web page just to display some information using a raw HTML and CSS without calling any bootstrap, whatever on it. Okay, so this is exactly what we have done with some of the basic things that I've done. Okay, so please, if you have any questions, please kindly drop them in the comment box or you send me a mail. My email is always in the description of my videos. Then please don't forget to like my videos, make your comments on the videos, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you. Thank you very much. I will see us in the next tutorial. Bye for now.